This tutorial will cover exporting 3D for print and web in Photoshop. This will include 3D print settings, 3D print utilities, export for Collada DAE files, export for STL files, and export for 3D PDF files. The needs for the different file types are based on what is going to be done with the file. For a Collada DAE file, it is basically used for interactive applications such as augmented reality. STL files are used primarily for printing purposes, but can be used in other modeling applications, and PDF files are just a generic file type useful to show someone a model when they may not have the necessary applications to view the file. Once your object is created in Photoshop and you want to save it, prior to exporting the file, you will want to unify the scene for 3D printing. By doing so, this function will create one mesh and one material. To unify the scene, you will go up to the 3D menu and scroll down to Unify Scene for 3D printing and click on that and click OK. This may take a little time to complete. The first file type that we're going to export is the Collada DAE file. To save or export this file, you'll go up to the Photoshop menu and click on 3D and export 3D layer. You'll want to create a new folder for your DAE files to keep them separated. You'll want to make sure your format is set to Collada DAE and click on Save. For the texture format, you want to save that as PNG and click OK. And it should be saving. May take a minute or so. If you go into this DAE file, you'll see that it did save those files. If you want to preview the file, you can click on the DAE file and just click on your space bar once, and that'll bring up your interactive preview. Next, we will export for STL files. It's basically the same process as the DAE file, but we'll just change it to a different file format. So we go up here again, click on 3D, export 3D layer, going to create a new folder, STL files. We're going to remove this copy because it's not going to be a copy, and we're going to change this format to STL and click on Save. Since the STL file is the file that you will use primarily for printing purposes, you'll want to change the size of the object to something that is manageable. Perhaps changing the X to about 4 inches should work. I saved it as a pretty big object. And then we'll click OK. And then if we go into that folder, STL files, we'll see we have our STL file. I think the only way that you can preview that is in some sort of application that will open STL files, printing 3D object type applications. The final export that I will be reviewing is for PDF files, Exporting your file for a PDF file takes some extra steps. You will want to first export the file to a U3D format, which is basically the same process. Once you have the Photoshop menu up, you'll click on 3D. As before, export 3D layer. We're going to create a new folder for PDF files. We're going to change this to the U3D and click on Save. Once this comes up, again we'll pick PNG for the texture format and click OK. And if we go here, you can see that PDF files, and there's our U3D file. Once your U3D file is saved, you'll then want to open up Adobe Acrobat. In the Adobe Acrobat box, you'll want to click on Create PDF from File. That will bring up your file structure, and we'll find that PDF file, or the U3D file in the PDF folder, and we will click Open. Scroll back out here. Actually, we do want to look at the advanced options. And there's a couple things that we want to change in here. We want to make sure that we have a transparent background. We probably want a border. Under the 3D settings, we want to see if our background color is going to work. I think that should work. It's like a grayish color. You can change your lights as well. We do want to set up some default views to make it easier for the person who might be viewing the file. Let's just do the left, top, front, right, bottom, back, all ortho so they could see all views. And we do want to show a toolbar. Other than that, I think we should be okay. We need to move this up and then click on OK. And that should load. Should load the file, but for some reason that it's not. Okay, so I was able to get that PDF to load. And as you can see, you can scroll around and see that it's a 3D object, just like the one we created. So to create that PDF, we go up here to File and Save As. Choose the folder that we want it to save in. Keep this the same, Adobe PDF files. Click on Save. Go back to this folder and you can see that it did create our PDF file. And that completes the tutorial for this week on exporting 3D for print and web in Photoshop. Thanks for viewing.